Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. And this is day 7 of 7 days of love. That's right, day 7. I made it. Glory to God. Thank you for Woody that stepped in that day. I greatly appreciate him. And you already know we're talking about love. What kind of love? All kind of love. We talked about self-love. We talked about the love of God. We talked about love as far as a friendship, a mother, a daughter. And today we're talking about a young love. When I say young love, they're not jits, but they're young in love. They're married, and considered to be not really newlyweds, but anything under 10 to me, you're still young in marriage. And so I want to introduce you to my panel today. My panel, my guest, my fam. This is my niece, and she's going to explain who she is as well as who beside her. Holla.
Hey, everybody. I am Whitney. I am one of everyone's favorite niece, favorite daughter, favorite cousin, favorite granddaughter. I am everybody's favorite. And we are so excited to be on the show. Go ahead, Austin.
Good evening, everyone. I am Christopher Austin. This is my lovely wife over here.
Your favorite?
Yes, that's right. His favorite.
Right. And I don't have to be anybody's favorite. I'm just Chris. That's it.
It's funny that she says that, because we all want to be loved, and she really is loved. And I think that when it come down to her cousin, she is one of the favorites. She's like a motherly form to her. And we're not going to talk about that part, but we can have her back on and talk about that, because to be a part of a family that you feel that you love is a great thing. I didn't have that story, but nevertheless, we'll talk about that another day. We're going to talk about young love. So Chris and Whitney, tell me your story between the two of you guys. How did you guys meet?
Do you want the truth?
Yeah, I want the truth, the whole adultery truth.
Okay, my story, your story.
What's the truth?
Go with yours.
All right,
go
so
with
this.
yours first.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell my story because we have two different stories. So I just need to see what you're looking for. Okay, so my story is boom. Second semester freshman year, we were in a reading class, reading for education or something. First semester, okay, reading for education. And make a long story short, the teacher asked us to pull out our books. 2 weeks prior, she told us to order the books, whatever book we needed to have, and all of us pulled all our books, and Chris did not have a book.
You were in college with no book, Chris.
Well,
okay, we're gonna hold on.
I didn't make the time to go get the book, but nevertheless, I left it.
So yeah, he didn't have a book. So Miss Smith, she literally looked at him and said, "Okay, so you don't have a book. What are you going to do?" And he was like, "Oh, I'll use her book." And I told him, I said, "Boy, you didn't buy this book. Like, you cannot volunteer and use my book." And I gave him such a hard time. At the end of all of that, he ended up using my book. And after class, he asked me, can he use my book so he can do the homework assignment?
Now, whoa. But let's back up slightly, right? So in doing the homework assignment, I said the work is easy to me. I can help you with the homework. You have the book. So whereas I could get the work done for us, you just provide the book.
So you did the homework. You did the assignment.
I came to the table wrong.
So did he do your assignment?
That part, for the truth, I don't remember him doing my assignment. I remember, wait a minute, Mr. Austin. I do remember doing my own work, because that was the kind of book that we can write in. And you didn't have a book, so you didn't have a choice but to do the assignment on paper.
Absolutely right. Okay. But you definitely came over to the dorm and we sat in the lobby and we did the work together.
Okay.
That's okay. I remember that a little bit.
And that's from there on. How did you start dating? How did that happen?
So at that time we did not start dating. Chris and I were literally friends for 8 months, 8 or 9 months. And how we end up starting to come together, they had this press circle one day in a circle at school, and this guy at the time, who he called nonetheless. So we was at the press circle, and I was talking about Jesus and, how I heard the voice of God and, all of that, because, that was my background. So I was telling, the other young ladies and guys about God or whatever. So after the press circle, everybody was like, "Oh, I want you to pray with me. Can I come to your room and we pray?" Yada, 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 whoop the whoop. So Chris see everybody come to me wanting to know Jesus. So then he was like, "Oh, I like that."
He wanted to know the Jesus in you?
At that point, I thought he did.
Can we back up slightly?
Okay.
All right. So this was around the time of her birthday. She went home. she will always tell us, mind you, we saw each other around campus already. She was hanging around. I guess they thought they were just the it girls.
Oh, we were.
We already saw each other around campus, but she went home for the weekend. She will tell everybody, "Oh, I go home every weekend. My auntie do my hair every weekend."
Real bad.
So she went home, came back with her hair done. It was her birthday week that week, so she came back with her hair done. And we end up meeting in the prayer circle that Sunday night.
Okay.
And what was actually being said in the prayer circle, some people were saying, what they were saying is, God was blessing them and all of this stuff, but in a sense of them like wanting to pray and all of this, like cursing and a lot of like different like ignorant stuff that was like being said. And it wasn't what she said and prayed for people. It was what she said. It was the simple fact that she came in, and I like how like she got back to the focus of what it should have been. And she got in the circle and she spoke so boldly. That's what I love, is that she came in, she was just like, blessings and curses cannot come out of the same mouth. I don't know what God everybody is serving, but God is not going to bless a mess. That's not what type of God he is. And so, when I saw her actually speaking like that, I was like, that's what I like. I didn't care that people went to her afterwards.
You liked it that you can tell that she kind of had a relationship with God and she understood the value.
For her own. And so like afterwards, when I found her, and I still remember this was my favorite dress that she always had on.
Okay, the favorite dress. This is how you went from borrowing the book to being in the book.
so she had on this like floral dress. It was like orange, blue, and everything. And it was kind of cut down to the back with a tail, and she wore like a little jean vest.
I remember that dress.
Yep.
And with a little shortcut, she was coming from class one day, and I called her coming from class, and I told her, I said, you know what, that I love like what you were saying in the prayer circle like yesterday, like it's not a lot of girls that's like that. And I was like, I started asking her a bunch of different questions, and
all in my business.
The entire time she was like, "Boy, what do you want?" Like, wow.
And so you know what? Let me cut you off, and we're gonna get back into that. So it's not the ideal that she was wearing short shorts and being the hot girls, because most people, I feel like young people these days feel like they're not showing their body, they're not attractive. But you like the ideal that she wasn't doing that, and you like that she knew God.
Yes. Well, see, this is the thing. Like, that's great, and I'm not even gonna lie. It's good to look at. It definitely is. But nevertheless, like, I didn't want someone to potentially be my wife that somebody or anybody already had. So, and then it's just like I saw like, okay, she has not just like a speck of relationship, but she has a deep relationship with God. Like, I love that. Like, first of all, my first passion is Christ. So it's like when I saw that in her, I was like, I want her.
I want her. Boy. Shout out, I want her.
Okay, that was cute.
That was
a cute story.
Even that, in the midst of that, can I say,
absolutely.
When did you find out that she was a virgin?
When did you find out?
I mean, I know you got it, but did you find out that she was a virgin?
Like if I told him right away?
Right away?
I don't think I told him right away, because we were friends. We were like still in that talking stage.
We would stay up and we would be talking to like walking around campus till like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Really?
But do you want me to give you like the full honest to God truth?
When did you find out I was a virgin?
Here, when you
okay, when I initially found out was that was second semester. We were still talking. It was it was first semester. It was before I went home for Christmas break.
And I told you.
And you told me that. And
did you believe it?
Nope. He did not. He told me that because, so before all that Jesus stuff, I was fresh in college. I was seeing so many people. It was all these fraternities going on. So, anybody said, hey, what's your number? I would, give them my number. I was talking to them.
Really, Whitney?
Yeah. But yeah, really, I'm talking about.
I never thought you was dating a lot.
No, I ain't say I was dating.
You said
I said I was giving him my number.
Oh, but you wasn't calling them back.
No,
Okay, go ahead.
It depends, if it was a party, nonetheless. So, yeah, I was talking to a lot of guys. And the first time they would mention something about sex or like, oh, come to my room, you want to go get something to eat, and it's so once they would hit me with that, I would like kind of pull back. So, at that time, we was having a conversation about wanting to date one another, and I told him straight up, I was like, I'm a virgin. I'm not looking to have sex. So if that's something that you want to do, you can go ahead and go, because if you start talking about sex, that's gonna be it for us. And when I told you about it, he was like, okay, whenever you're ready. But at the same time, Chris was talking to another girl too.
Oh,
so he went and
he was a tricker.
He loved Jesus.
You was gonna trick on the other girl? How you had a girlfriend and you was still trying to talk to Whitney? Tell me about it.
It wasn't his girlfriend.
It was your friend girl? It's just somebody you was dating, no commitment. Y'all do that a lot these days, this generation. No commitment. I have never seen anything like it. You could be with somebody for 2 years and y'all still be saying y'all ain't committed.
Absolutely.
Well, if you don't want to like find yourself attached to that particular person, of course.
Yeah. But you still with that person.
Yeah, but it's no ring. It's like
because.
So when you say you're not committed, you're not saying that you're not seeing just that one particular person.
Not necessarily that it's just that one particular person. But you don't want any ties. So if you have to like stop those areas of
walk away,
it's nothing.
At any point in time, like it's nothing.
Wow.
For you to
yeah. So you want to stay there, but at the same time, when you get ready to leave, you want to be able to
absolutely
care about nobody's emotion that you've been with there for 2 years. So in all the time you're invested in it, I ain't mad at you. I'm just trying
a lot of times it's just the point where I need somebody's company like to pass the time by. That's what
company as far as sexually, or company as far as just hanging out. Both.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense. But I noticed that this generation don't really value marriage, right? A lot of people are not into marriage. They feel like it's an institutional. They feel like it's just a way to control people. They feel like it's not it's a man-made thing. They like to say that, as long as you give yourself to one another, you don't have to get married. Right. And so by you guys being young college graduates, how did you know that marriage is something that you wanted to partake in?
Well, for me, since I was a teenager, well, even as a kid, like I always wanted to get married because I saw my mom, even though like her marriage didn't end like successfully or whatnot, she ended up getting divorced. But I always saw my grandma and my granddad married, and their household like still stands to this day. And my grandfather, he has passed, and my grandma, she is still living off of the roots that they have planted together. So I've seen a successful marriage. So I was like, you know what, God, that's what I want for myself. And I would write when I turned like 16, 17, I like got a prayer journal and I wrote down like everything I wanted in a wife. Like, because I said, you know what, this is exactly what I want. So
that is good though. I want to say that because you said you saw a successful marriage. A lot of people say they don't want to get married because they haven't seen any successful marriage. They see people tricking, they see domestic violence in it, and they don't see people treating it properly. So kudos to you that you was able to see a successful marriage. It all depends on what we say is successful, right? Because my mother and father was together for 30 some years before my father passed, and in some people's eyes it would be successful. In some people's eyes, it wasn't because they had their issue. It was some adulteries in it. There was some violence in it. It was some yelling, some screaming. But at the same time, there was love there. There was compassion there. And so it all depends on what you think is a successful marriage. And this is why they tell you that you can't base your relationship off of someone else's relationship.
I could definitely say you are definitely right. And as I got older, I learned that my grandfather and my grandmother's marriage wasn't all that sweet and everything. So, but nevertheless, it's like, I have to give them props because they stuck it out. And it's like, even in the midst of like all the trials and all the tribulations, everything that the other person put the other person through, is just like, you know what, I'm gonna tough this out for not just for myself, but for my family.
Yeah, you said a lot too, because a lot of people these days don't feel like they have to tough it out. A lot of people like microwavable situation, relationship. They're easily to walk away. A lot back in the days, people stayed too, because when my mom was getting married and had 5 kids and her mother, they stayed because women didn't have rights, right? They had rights, but they didn't have a voice. They wasn't able to take care of themselves, provide for themselves. I don't know if because now women have the right pretty much to do whatever they want to do, and they make their own money. So I feel like we have gotten away from the importance of a man. We feel like we don't need a
Absolutely.
man. We feel like I can take care of myself just like a man. And I think we have become so desensitized that we don't know our purpose. And it's just me, Judge Mama. I just feel like we as women, we lost our softness.
Absolutely.
We feel like we have to be the man, and sometimes we do, and but we don't want to. I don't think we initially want to, but I think sometimes we have to.
I can definitely relate to that, especially being in a single parent household. My dad was a great dad, but again, he wasn't in a house. So with him not being in the house, my mom was doing everything by herself. So once I got with Chris, um, I was that girl that wanted to take control. Like I wanted to do everything. Whatever I said, it went. I meant what I said. And if he didn't do what I say or react how I wanted him to react, it was a problem.
And how does that work for you?
I mean, it didn't work.
Exactly.
It was horrible. It was
Exactly.
horrible. I can honestly say, maybe within this last year, I'm talking about 2022, I finally got the courage to tell him, like, I'm so sorry. I really do need you. Like, I cannot do this by myself. I don't want to be strong. I don't want to take control. I now want to be your submissive wife. Like, I want to make this work, because with me trying to take control and do everything,
It's tiresome.
it was horrible.
Yeah.
And I was the reason for a lot of things that didn't work out because I wanted to take control. I wanted things to be my way, even though his plan sounded good. But I'm like, no, I ain't come up with that first. So let's try it my way. But now I have learned that it's okay to not be that strong woman.
Is it because of your mother was a single parent and you saw the way she handled relationship, how she handled life? Did you feel like you had to be your mother, or you wanted to be like your mother?
If Chris answered that, he gonna say that I want to be like my mama so bad. Like,
go ahead, Chris. Tell what you think, Chris. Mary, don't take it personal. We're just trying to help other young couples in this conversation.
All I'm going to say is unintentionally, she does exactly what she sees her mom does.
No.
And go ahead.
Okay, it's learned behavior. It is definitely learned behavior.
Yeah, I tell people all the time the worldview messed us up.
Absolutely.
Just because it's something that we saw, just because we was taught, does not necessarily mean it was right.
Right.
And I think it takes a big person to do, like you said, to apologize and be willing to see the errors of your ways, because we're not perfect. And I learned you want to treat people how you want to be treated.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So go ahead, Chris. Tell us about it.
Well, I'll say this too, and she has definitely. I could definitely say Whitney has definitely grown. She has definitely grown. She did, and I will have to tell her a couple times, like, "Hey, stop telling me what to do," or like I'll come up with a plan, and the plan will be very logical and it will be very reasonable, and I would have thought about it for a good while. So I'll bring it to her, and she'll be like, "No, well, I think it'd be better to do it this way." Okay, no problem, baby. So, all right, so we're gonna do it that way or whatnot. Later on down the line, let's say 5 months down the line, oh, well, I think we should do it this way, blah, blah, blah. That was my initial plan. So if we did the initial plan, we wouldn't be back at square one.
You're right.
And I think I'm a lot of times I have to allow Whitney to actually figure it out herself, and because without starting an argument, because I've learned, like, okay, you know what, it's going down the wrong way, Chris. Just let her like learn it. But in the sense of her acting like her mom, I would see like how she would talk, how she would respond to certain things.
Yeah, because we're
what she
kind of
would do.
aggressive.
Yes,
Mhm.
and I would have to tell her like, look, like back off, like, and then a lot of times too, like I would have to tell her like it's it's okay to be vulnerable with me. I'm your husband,
Mhm.
and so she'd be like, oh well, I just don't want to let my guard down or what. It's okay. You could be vulnerable with me. I am your husband.
That's powerful.
So-
That's powerful because we don't trust, right?
Absolutely.
We don't been. I'm not saying as far as Whitney, but just
Mhm.
say a woman who has been through a lot of trauma, a lot of been abused or misused, or even just tricked on. They feel like it to show you my whole heart, to let my guard down, is giving you power to hurt me. And so, how did you get her to be vulnerable to you? Did you pray? Did you threaten to leave?
I did pray. Yeah, I did threaten to leave.
All of the above. Check.
Like-
I'm gonna let you talk. Go ahead.
And I told her a couple times. I was like, I said, if I'm taking the role as the man in a relationship, I'm not going to fight you for that role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if you want to be the man in a relationship, you could be the man in a relationship somewhere else. I could find where God sent you, he'll send somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not worried about that aspect. And I'm not going to fight you to be the lead in this relationship. And so, of course, she wasn't susceptible to that. But nevertheless, we move forward.
Absolutely.
And even now, sometimes I have to I've learned I can't talk so hard to her,
Mm-hmm.
even though she will like have some hard choice of words towards me.
Yeah.
But it was a word this one lady gave me when I was out of town for training, and she told me, she said, God told me to tell you that you need to be gentle with your wife.
Yeah, because I wanted to talk to you about the word you said, lead. You're the man of the relationship. You should lead. Even it sounds kind of hard in the 2023
Mhm.
that you would say, I'm the man and I need to lead, right? I know back in the days that we said the man is the head of the house, but but women work too, right? They work, they cook, they clean, they do all the things that a man do, quote unquote, to the point where what happened to equalness? Why do you have to lead? Why can't you guys lead together?
This is the thing, and and I can say this all goes back to my beliefs. That's it. God made man first, and then he made woman as the helpmate.
Mm-hmm.
So the man is supposed to have right relationship with God, because God will give the man answers for whatever he needs for his marriage, his and his entire family. So that is just solely is based off of my beliefs.
Okay, so based off your belief, the Bible also said, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. The husband should love the wife as he loved the church, that he gave himself for it, right? And so when you give yourself to something, for something, then you're always going to make sure that person needs are met first, right? Because that's what Christ did. And so I'm not trying to tell you that you're not supposed to take the rope, because I believe a man should take a rope. I just believe you should be mindful how you take the rope. I think it does take you being gentle. And what we fail to understand, yes, we're supposed to submit to our husband, but God didn't command us to love, right?
Mhm.
And so when he command you guys to love. So what I think some men get mixed up, if you love properly, then she'll fall in line.
Absolutely. It's easier.
It's easier, right? And then we want to talk about, a lot of people say that Sarah called Abraham Lord. But what they failed to remember, Sarah ain't even have to wash her own behind. Sarah had to do absolutely nothing for herself. Everything Sarah needed was provided. So she didn't have a problem with following Abraham or calling him Lord. And so I think we should just make sure we have that thing called balance.
Absolutely.
I can definitely attest to that, because I would definitely say this, right? It was one situation not too long ago where Whitney and I, we were not talking to each other. And she finally came to me one day, and she was just like, we need to talk. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, what's like, how are we moving forward? Like, because I need to figure out, like, are we gonna work this out? Are we gonna? And it was one thing she told me, and she said, that amount of security, that comfortness that I know, like, if I'm in your arms, like, I will be safe. Like, I don't get that feeling from you. And when I tell you, like, honestly, I didn't tell her until this day. Like
It
it
broke.
really broke my heart.
Funny
Like,
you said that. Hold on one moment. It was a comment. It say women submit to men who make them feel loved and safe,
Absolutely.
secured. So go for it.
and so when she told me that, it like I said, it really broke my heart. And I'm thinking like, okay, I'm just here like going through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
But when she said it, I was like, okay, you know what? I really reconvened. Like I went, talked to myself, of course, talked to God, and I was like, you know what, Chris, you gotta tighten up, because if you say you love this girl, like you love shows. So we agreed that, you know what, we would just not like talk about like improving, we would actually show it. And
Absolutely.
so
I like that you guys have date nights
Yeah.
because people don't think that's important.
No,
It
it's
is.
and
it's very
extremely
important.
They feel like because they spend time with each other during the day, all day, they don't have to set a special day to let me know, hey, this day
No.
is going to be about you. I like that you have
Yeah, date night.
Date night is important.
That date night is definitely important. And outside of the house, not necessarily saying that you have to go out and spend money. Like now we would literally like just meet up in a parking lot somewhere.
Mhm.
I'll go sit in his car, he'll go sit in my car.
I like that. That
you
does
know,
my heart good.
yeah. So it's definitely important.
Does my
It-
heart good.
It helped the marriage grow.
Yeah,
Real-
you have to get away, especially like say you at your home, right? At home, if you're not careful, if you're say you're lacking
Mhm.
at home, all the bills, at home is all
Overwhelming.
the stress.
Absolutely.
At home reminds you of all those things that's going wrong.
Right.
And so you need to get out. You need to change your atmosphere. You need to change your environment so you can get a clear head. So I
Absolutely.
think it's important to date each other on the outside. Yeah, I do. That's my opinion. I'm gonna tell you something about you guys when you first got engaged and married. You probably already know. I was so pissed.
Yes.
I was so pissed. I was so pissed,
Yes.
and I was so and I think about it. I was pissed because I was hurt. Right.
Mhm.
I was hurt for one. I didn't know it got to that place, and then I was hurt that I wasn't involved
Mhm.
because I'm telling you my
Okay,
feelings.
okay, okay,
Because
okay.
it's my truth. Because Whitney was my daughter at that point. Her and Eric, they did
Mhm.
everything in that year. And then for her to get engaged and I was not a part of it, I was like, how dare he not let me be a part of that? And so
Absolutely.
I was so mad at you, baby. But I've come to love you, okay? And I root for you. I pray for you. I pray for you guys. I'm always telling Whitney good things about trying to make the marriage work because I've been there. So I just thought this was a great time to tell it public that
Perfect time.
perfect time.
Just in case they want to know the truth.
The truth
But
is-
yeah, so let's go back to the whole proposal thing because when Sister Girl said she was mad and pissed, she really was
I was
beyond.
Young
So
mad.
like I really had to text her and call her, and I'm like, I didn't know, but I didn't know. But she was like, but he did it. I'm like,
She honestly did not know.
Yeah.
but I couldn't get that because her mama knew, her daddy knew. How did I not know?
none of them knew.
No, her dad didn't even know.
Yeah, I was done
Like
with you.
I had to go
After.
after
The
to,
day
like,
after he
say,
proposed
like,
to
oh,
me.
hey, Mr. Price, like, and it was
And that didn't
wasn't
go
Mr.
good
Price.
either.
Yeah.
That went real bad.
But the
Yeah.
only person I was really in communication with was Ebony. Like Whitney and I, believe it or not, Whitney and I, she made me mad about something and we were arguing.
Yeah, we
That
were-
day?
No,
Like, that week.
that week
Okay.
leading up to his coronation, Chris and I did not talk at all.
Mhm.
So I knew nothing about it. The only thing I was trying to do is have because his family stay in Lakeland. I was just trying to have my siblings come and support him. But I knew nothing. That whole week, we would literally see each other in passing and not speak. His friends would be like, bro, they go with. And I'd be like, okay. But we knew nothing.
You know
I
what?
didn't know anything.
But you know what that tells me too? That tells me that you knew that she was the one for you, right? Because we get mad at people and we don't be honest or truthful to our emotion. We don't be truthful to our heart.
Absolutely.
We'll get mad and we'll let something play all the way out, knowing that you wanted to be with Whitney, knowing that eventually that anger was going to be worked out. You could have made a decision that allowed you to not go forth with the marriage. And so what I'm learning today is that you have more value, right? You're a man of value. And
Oh, thank you.
and I like that about you because when you sit down and talk to people, you don't really know before you sit down and talk to people, you don't really know. You just see you in passing, right?
Mhm.
And because sometimes when I see you in passing, I feel like sometimes you could be extremely standoffish. I feel that way. But sitting down talking to you, I understand how you respond or why you show up the way you do. And so I just wanted to say, I ain't mad at you no more.
Well, thank you.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm not mad at you anymore. And then in this thing, you talked about Whitney's mom extremely aggressive in her tone, right? That comes from our mother, right? It's handed down from generation to
Absolutely.
generation. But kudos to her that she's able to break that. I try to make sure that my daughter break that too. I've been married to Woody for this year be 27 years.
Jeez.
27 years. And he say he stayed with me because he's not a quitter, right? I stay with him.
Come on, B.
Let's get this straight right here and now.
Okay, come on, speak your
I'm on
truth.
bended knee. Listen, I did say that, and I do mean that I'm not a quitter.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of it all, it's the fact that I love her. It's the love that makes the difference.
Absolutely.
When I was talking to Morgan the other day, I did say that, and I said it in a joking way, but I meant it. But I am not a quitter.
And
So
people can't
I
hear you.
would not give up on her or myself. That's what I mean. Now, she's only going to point out the fact that you're
said
not
you're
a quitter.
Right.
That's all she hears. You're not a quitter. What about the rest of it? I said you didn't listen to the whole conversation.
This ain't your show. Don't be trying to
Okay.
use this show to
This is not my show.
get yourself together.
Okay.
You just the
Okay.
cameraman.
Come
And
on,
don't
Uncle Woody.
turn nothing off. Don't turn nothing off. Look at Morgan. Gonna turn nothing.
Yes, sir. I'll say, let me
Morgan
fix it
say
up.
you're trying to say she a quitter, but she don't care.
City girl, real bad. City girls up one.
No, still O'Brien time I set her straight, Woody. Okay, so it takes two people to make a marriage work, right?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, sometimes one person end up fighting harder than the other. But I tell people all the time, my friend girls, the people who I counsel and everything, when you're married, one thing you don't want to do when you're angry is leave the house. When you leave the house, I think you leave doors open for the enemy to come in to make you think the grass is greener on the other side. And you don't take the time to process what you're going through or value one another. I say that to say that Woody fought harder for our relationship. Why? Because he's not a quitter. And so because he's not a quitter, he made sure that he showed up more for us. But in the midst of him showing up for us, I used to tell my sister Mary that I used to be mad at him all the time, and I had absolutely no reason to be mad at him. I would talk myself out of being mad. Have you guys learned to talk yourself out of being mad?
As of today, yes.
I have. And see, and this is the thing too, like sometimes
Why are you squeezing her knee?
It's the pat underneath the table for me.
Because the thing is, sometimes I have to tell her, like, hey, babe, like, I'm mad about something and I'm trying to deal with myself. And yes, it is bad that it's taken me a couple days, but I feel as though, like, if the minute you come at me and ask me about it, I'm going to lash out because it's still fresh on my head.
Well, let's be honest. It hasn't always been like that because Chris and I have went months under the same roof without talking to one another. I'm talking about months.
Now, I can go days, but never months.
No.
And I don't go days like I used to, but I used to go days.
It's like we're just roommates.
Yeah,
Wow.
literally. So what we're talking about now, this is like learned behavior that we have tried to do within the last 6 months to a year to grow.
I'm proud of you.
So our marriage can last longer because we both agreed that we did want each other. We did want this thing called marriage. But less than a year and a half ago, 2 years, we went 3 months.
Yeah, we know.
Without talking to each other, like for real.
Yeah, we know.
I'm talking about he was downstairs, I was upstairs.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
So
and
it was
that's
easy.
Yeah, we know.
It was easy. Seriously.
We was at the counter. We know.
Counseling real bad.
Oh, yeah.
We
I
know.
forgot about that.
Our whole come to Jesus moment.
Come to
Yeah, come on.
We cannot let this be.
So,
we
it was
know.
real.
But it's a good thing, right? I'm talking. It matters, and not allowing things to fester more than what it can be. And if you don't deal with the problem now, and you try to just go back to regular life, eventually that problem is going to come back, right? Something's going to bump it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a sore. The scab is there, but if you peel that scab off, you notice that sore is still not healed. And so if you don't deal with anything, all you're doing is covering up. That's only going to last for a minute. I wanted to say that I used to be mad at Woody because of finance, right? Nothing that he done. He's always been super sweet. He's always taking care of the kids more than me. He take them to the doctors. He take them to work. He took them to school. You guys never rode the school bus.
Nope.
He was their school bus. He was so glad when Morgan graduated high school, because he was like, I can hang up my bus driving license, because he took them everywhere. And I say that to say he did everything and then some, so that we can have a good life, because I feel like he felt like because financially he wasn't doing it, so he did everything and then some, and he made up for it. How is the finance struggle in your guys' relationship? Is it if it's
from the beginning?
However.
All right, so from the beginning, I'll be honest. Like from the beginning, I was not fine with my finances, right?
And that's why I couldn't let you lead. That's why it was so hard for me to let him lead.
Yeah. But and not to cut you off, but that's good too, because you feel like if I got to make all the money, I got to pay the bill. It's strenuous.
Yeah,
you don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. That's not a place that a woman wants to do.
Absolutely.
You never want to have to make those decisions. That's what the purpose of having a husband, right? We want you to make those decisions.
But and this is the thing too, right? And I will, because moving when I initially, after we got engaged, moving to Fort Lauderdale, like I got a job at Publix, right? So after working there for like a month, 2 months, I was like, okay, it's fine, good. But then we started getting our own place. I was like, this not cutting it for me.
See, that's what I want to understand. Both of y'all college graduate. Why are you working at Publix and why are you working at Walmart?
Because I didn't want to use my degree.
I didn't want to go into teaching either.
Me neither.
But mind you, like we still had one more semester to finish.
Okay.
So and
you guys married while y'all was still in college? Y'all wasn't finished?
We got engaged while we were still in college.
Okay,
but we got married.
We got married in 2017. We graduated college in 2018.
Okay. So yeah. I was thinking that you guys had graduated college already.
No, we took a semester off. So that that's what happened. Okay. We took a semester off so that we can work. So once we got married, he went back home to Lakeland. You didn't come back.
No, but let's get this story straight, right? So
I'm sorry.
I was
1 moment. I apologize. I'm gonna go by the comment. I said that Woody used to, and my daughter wants to know, why are you saying used to? Because she swear he's my enabler. He still does everything for me. Yeah, I still get mad. I don't get mad to the point where I throw stuff, but I do get mad about finance.
Now you see where all the aggression comes from? Trust me, it's just not my mama. You just end up being in the hospital, but it's
okay, so
speak your truth.
All right, so when moving to Fort Lauderdale, I did not want to I didn't want to work at Publix. After a while, we were on our own. Whitney know I would come home depressed every night. And I would tell her, I can't, I don't like working here. And I finally found another job or whatnot. It was working with court-ordered kids at a residential facility. First, she was just like, oh, no, you got to go to work. Don't worry about the interview, blah, blah, whatever the case may be.
That's right. You had to work.
Turns out.
You don't work, you don't eat.
Turns out when I left Publix and got the job at that at the facility, and now I've been promoted. I was promoted 3 times. And so now it's just okay,
now you can leave. Y'all right, you can leave.
At first I could definitely say yes, we had a lot of issues with finances as well. Honestly, I'm not mad at it. And when I look back on it now, I'm not mad at it, because even now I want to be able to take on everything that, and that's what I saw my grandfather do. So, but this is, and I will definitely say this: Whereas Whitney used to give, and I say this a lot of times, whereas we don't treat each other the same.
Okay.
So because
Get it out.
we don't.
Do she beat you? Just blink your eye twice.
It depends what the scenario is.
If she beat you, blink twice.
I wish he would blink his eye.
But no, like I've had to tell her, like, we don't treat each other the same because whereas I was short, I had the short end of the stick coming every time.
Okay.
She would be 38, 100 hot with me.
When you say short end, you mean financially?
Yes.
Okay.
I light that
And
apartment
then-
up.
But mind you, the tables turned where when I got promoted, I was bringing more. And when she would come with the short end, I'd be like, "It's okay, babe. I just pay for it."
As I feel, as a woman, as you the head, as she should be okay if she come home
But
short.
the thing is, I was only short because I had stepped down from my position.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, the 6 years that I was working there, I, was the breadwinner at the time. And when he was working at Publix, I tried not to put so much pressure on him. I tried with all the lowercase letters.
At least you honest.
Yeah, I
Right.
tried not to put pressure on him. But, when things start to get a little tough, we couldn't just settle for just a published job. Like, we are fresh out of college. That little check that we used to get in college, it was cute, it was sweet, but now we are really out here in the real world. Like, you can't go back home. I could have went back home, but we're trying to figure it out for our own self.
Right.
And since we had already stepped out, like, let's finish it. So I needed more, and of course he couldn't leave me like that. I had so much to say, and what are you going to say to me if you can't take care of this or you can't take care of that?
Oh,
That
boy.
was my mentality then, but now
Oh boy.
my dog take care of it all. So
And
I'm grateful.
And that's right. People don't understand. You have to stick it out.
Absolutely.
If you have the love there, right, you can work through everything else. But today's world, I find that women, want to be taken care of to the extreme, to the point. They don't just want to be provided for. They want the fancy cars. They want the designer handbags.
I blame that on social media.
Oh, most
and
definitely.
Celebrities.
Most definitely.
I
Because
definitely
we look at them and expect that life to be ours, not knowing we don't make the money that they make. We don't do the things they do to bring in that money. But also I find that men also, they don't look for women who they can help. They want them now on the playing field the same or even more. Where Woody married me and then married me with 3 kids, men are not doing that now.
Oh no.
No, they don't want a ready-made family.
Until tax time.
Yeah.
When tax time come, you see all the happy families, So yeah. We're gonna get that tax season one day.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
So do you guys
I'm
plan on
determined.
having babies?
Yes. That's our goal for
I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy. And like, if you had to talk to a young couple who just got married and they're struggling, because that first year, would you say the first year was the hardest or no?
First year.
The first 7 years?
Second year.
You
third year.
No, you know what I actually did here is that your first 5-6 years, if you don't make it through your first,
If you don't make it past
years,
that 7th year, you're not gonna.
Yeah. And so I
Not
Man, it was
necessarily
tough.
because I know my husband and his mom and her father got a divorce out of what, 25 years? Yeah, 25 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now the hardest years was what years? The first year, the
All
third
of
year,
them.
the second.
Yeah,
Oh,
all of
really?
them were really hard.
Did you have
No,
hard
I'm-
years
no, I'm not
constantly,
going-
or did
I'm not
you
going-
have
I'm not going to
hard
say that.
moments?
We've had maybe like a good year that was maybe the second or maybe the third year.
When we first got married, that was a good year.
No, that first year was bad.
When y'all was thinking,
We were still in college.
That first year was bad. I
Oh,
don't know
no.
where you. I don't know who you bad to, but
It was somebody else.
that first year was not good.
Man, that first year was. I'm talking
Not
about.
the first year in college wasn't good because you guys were still in college.
Oh, I'm
no,
thinking
we're
of
talking about
marriage.
marriage.
Yeah, you guys got married. You still had a year in college.
No, we had a semester in
Oh,
college.
you had a semester in college.
So
Okay.
we was like, but our line was tough. I'm talking about from the day we got the apartment to graduation. That was tough. You remember
Because
that?
the real bills
We
hit.
got, we,
No, we
no,
talk-
it wasn't
it wasn't
bills.
Each other?
That joker got drunk and threw up all over my couch house the day before graduation.
Well, I
Oh,
was
you
celebrating
done.
for graduating.
Yeah, so that was
and
tough.
then I threw up a couple specks on the couch.
So it was the throwing up that made it hard for you.
Oh yeah, that
was
set
it?
her off.
I was mad.
You thought this was going to be your life forever, a part of your life?
No,
Yeah,
mind you,
I did.
right? And mind you, this is the thing. She done got so done. I was everything but God's friend, child, whatever you want to call
Shut
it.
up.
So, and this is the thing, right? After I done done all of this, so we can graduate, she is cursing me straight out.
And then real bad.
What?
She
You
done
think-
put me through stress with all her anxiety.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's talk about that. You have a may I?
Yeah, of course.
We have anything that's off limits?
No, go ahead.
Okay. And so we this generation, this millennium, this time, we're talking about mental health, right?
Wow.
We're talking about how we used to sweep it under the rug, not deal with it, or it was taboo to talk about it, especially in a Black family. All we wanted to do was pray and not get therapy, not do the necessary steps so we can be better. You have a wife that deals with anxiety, right? That's a form of mental health, mental
Absolutely.
illness. How do you support her? And then for someone who's dealing with that, what would be some of your tips for them to deal with a woman that
I would definitely say it has taken a lot of patience out of me. And I was just explaining this to my training class today. I've never seen anxiety before. So when I would see her like spacing out or freaking out about something, I was like, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. But I would sometimes I would literally have to hold her and tell her, "Hey, just breathe.
Mhm.
It's okay."
Mhm.
And we would be really in the middle of arguments, and I would not want to say anything to her. And we would be laying in the bed, and I would have I can hear her like dealing with her anxiety and having an anxiety attack. I would literally have to roll over, forget the argument, and
Mhm.
say hey, hold him, be like, hey, it's okay, like just breathe,
Mhm.
breathe, and I have to literally sit there and coach her through it.
Mhm.
And I mean, it has taken a lot, and when it can be overwhelming a lot, especially for someone who is definitely new to it. But you have to find that calming place for them so that you can be able to just calm their spirit, because you have to be their calm in their entire storm.
Mhm.
So, and it has been very difficult, but I say a lot of patience has.
Did you have to take
her.
a class, or is it just something that you learn as far as just watching her, as far as what she needed?
It came with as far as what she would be dealing with, how she would handle different things, and I just watched her a lot of times let's say sometimes family will be an issue for her, and I'll have once we get to the house I have to say calm down,
You have
just
to
take a
step in.
breather,
Mhm.
it's okay. Or sometimes she'll we'll be in the car and she'll be in the middle of having a mental breakdown, and I have to and honestly I really got to give full and complete recognition to God for that, a big shout out to him, because honestly most of the words that I would tell her, I'd have no
Mhm,
clue
mhm,
where they
mhm.
came from. I'm
So-
being so serious.
Even though they said that you need to be more gentle with her, I still hear that you was attentive to her.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
honestly, and I will tell you this, Whitney helped me with that,
Mm-hmm.
because honestly, at first I would listen, but I wouldn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just I'll let you think I'm, oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
But then she would actually make me stay, pay attention to her. Oh, you didn't notice I got my nails done, or you didn't notice I got my hair done today.
Mhm,
You didn't notice I did my eyelashes, little
Mhm,
things. So it's just she kept me on my toes with paying more attention to her. So, and then she'll always ask me this question. I thought was just so irritating me sometimes, getting off of work. What do you think I like? What do I like to do? And of course, every man after work is just oh Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So, but even in that, I would say she definitely taught me how to pay more attention to her.
I
Really
like that
did.
too, because we want our men to be mind readers, right? And half of the time, the reason why we can't get what we want in a relationship because we don't know what we want in a relationship. We don't necessarily know what we need. And so for her to be able to voice to you what she needed, that was a plus. And Whitney, I heard you say earlier that he didn't make you feel safe. So you were unable to feel vulnerable. You feel like you couldn't be vulnerable. Did you find it hard to be vulnerable with your anxiety? Was that something that you was afraid for him to find out?
Not necessarily, because when I was first going through the whole anxiety thing, we were in a good space.
No, in fact, when she first went through anxiety initially, when it first started,
He thought I was laughing.
No, remember, that's when I actually met my girlfriend.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Really, you had been dealing with it for that long?
So in college, I would always say like my nerves were bad, but not until like I got into the little accident thing on 95. That's when it kind of like kicked in fully. But not only was I going through anxiety, I had a horrible allergic reaction. Remember, my lip was I had a cold sore on my lip, and that night he asked me to be his girlfriend
with the cold sore.
With the cold sore,
you didn't think you had herpes?
He used to.
So, but and this,
now you want to be serious?
Yeah, this is the thing, right? So like how it happened was she when I got back to school, it was after spring break. When I got back to school, everybody told me she was sick in her room. So when I went there, she was like really sick. She had called her mama, her sisters, and all of them.
They was on their way.
They came to the school. This was my first time I met
Mary?
Yes. Ma.
She came in there like a bear.
My girl ain't playing.
Like,
what's wrong, my baby?
You and my daughter? Oh, you going to the hospital, ain't you?
And she better not be pregnant.
No, when we got to the hospital, she said, give her pregnancy test, give her everything. She better not be pregnant.
I ain't even got none yet. Right. I'm like, he was like, I'm nervous. I'm like, Chris, you know we haven't done anything yet. Like, what do you? This boy was hard down sweating, and he made her go to the back with me, just in case I was pregnant.
Just in case.
That was a night.
And I chuckle because my daughter, she was like, she don't date a man that's not a mind reader.
But I wanted Chris to be a mind reader. Like I wanted him to figure everything out about me. I felt like we had been knowing each other for so long.
But is that fair?
It's not fair. And I learned that. Yeah. Because I used to get so upset with him about something he literally did not know. And then too, I kind of felt like that the bare minimum that he was giving me, he still thought it was okay because it was when we were in college. You know, so the little stuff that you would get me and the little stuff that you would do while we're in college, it was cute. But now that we're grown and we're married, like I didn't think that stuff was cute anymore. So I had to ask them the kind of questions like, you know the things I like, because I might have liked that last month, but this month I don't like that kind of stuff anymore. So I just wanted to make sure that I was giving him the opportunity to know me so that, that can cut down some of the horrible conversations and the anger, because it angered me that he didn't know, the kind of things that I like. And that's something that we do now. At first I loved heels. I loved sandals. Now I don't like heels and sandals anymore because I'm teaching. I want tennis shoes. So now when you go in the store, don't show me no heels. Don't show me no sandals. I need you to know like, hey, she want a pair of tennis shoes.
Yeah, but you don't have no sexy heel for them date nights.
Yeah, my little kikis.
You gotta have sexy heels.
I do have
You
heels.
need the sexy heels and a trench coat, okay?
What? Not the kikis?
No, you need some stilettos, some
heels.
sexy heels,
yeah,
with a trench coat, okay?
Okay.
Because you don't have to put nothing under it.
Yeah.
Y'all grown.
Yeah, we getting to that point.
how you guys doing with the sex life? Because most people feel like when you get married, you gotta have sex 5 days a week. How did you guys deal with that?
I wanted it.
Mind you, sex never really like interested me.
Yeah, because you had sex before. So I'm not the first person Chris had sex with. He have had sex with multiple.
Women.
Not that you were a whore, but you had.
Right. Don't make
it's
it
okay
seem.
to say whore.
Don't
You
make
can
it
say
seem
whore.
that
Yeah, I forgot. We curse.
Whore is proper. He probably was a hoe.
Yeah,
he's a hoe.
But with him,
okay, for the audience, no audience. Thank you. We got a live audience today, guys, and they is out of order. Well,
yes,
one
they
on
real
is.
bad. But Chris had sex with other people. So he experienced. He probably don't did everything. Whereas for me, he was the first person I was with, so I was excited. Like I really wanted to have sex with Chris. every day. Like
Dang.
if he look at me the wrong way, I'm
You
like,
would-
yeah,
that's
you know,
gay.
like come on. Especially when he come home with a good haircut. Oh my God. But then I had to realize that he ain't that kind of guy. But now we got a little thing
You
going.
got your groove on. Did you
Yeah.
feel like because he had sex before and you was a virgin that he wasn't having sex with you a lot because you wasn't good, or did you know you was good at what you was doing? You should know what you're doing because you
Man,
should
I
know
got
your
a
blood
five-
that's in you.
Listen, I'm finna tell you because I always
Yeah.
say I got a 5 pound in the back and a 10 pounder in. 5 pound in the front and a 10 pound in the back. So I know what I'm working with. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So I never.
What's a 5 pounds in the back? Because you ain't. Y'all get it from the. You do it. You do it.
No, AT. Listen,
When I say
when I say
I'm sure.
5 pound
I mean,
in
one
the
time
front.
would have tried to get me in the booty.
Oh no, we don't do that.
Oh no.
We don't do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It hurt. I don't do it
Nah,
either.
Whitney be trying to hint stuff like that, but I do not. I am not going for it.
We don't do that kind of stuff. Nah, but look, I just, I had that confidence that I knew I was gonna be
try
great.
to get me one time in the booty. I told my daddy I thought you tried to get me in the booty when I was asleep because I woke up and my booty was hurt.
Oh wow!
I told my daddy too.
Oh wow!
I said, Dad, I think Woody trying to get me in the butt. He talking about, he is your husband, ain't he? I was like, no,
Mm-mm.
we don't do that. We don't do that.
Nah, we don't do that
We don't do
neither.
that.
But
If you wanted to, the Bible says the bed is undefiled, but I don't know about that part because I think that is for that's for a total different
yeah,
thing.
no, that's too
I
much.
personally don't think you should let nobody go in the back. Truthful, I believe that's for the sugar honey iced tea only, and that's it.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's waste. That's
Yeah,
disposable
that's
waste. I'm
right.
not-
Yeah, that we ain't that
Yeah.
we ain't that kind of
Yeah.
nasty, nah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's for the sugar honey iced tea. Don't take it
Absolutely.
personal. Everybody believe what
To
they
each his
believe. I
own.
just don't think we should do that.
Yeah, none of
Yeah.
that. Not
Now
even
let's
a
talk about
thumb.
another thing that people think we. Let's talk about another thing that people say we shouldn't do because I looked for it in the Bible,
Mhm.
but they say oral sex is not of God.
Well, if you're receiving it, that's different.
Well, I thought that was more so speaking about those that were not married.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been trying to find it in the Bible where it says
I
that
think it's talking about
because if
sodomers.
you talk about the Songs of Solomon, he talks about what's between the middle of the thighs and how to take care of the middle of the thighs. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that another time. They ain't ready.
Nah.
Okay. Well, Chris, do you have any tips for a young married couple to help them push past their troubles?
We have learned communication, and I thought this was very much cliche, but communication is key.
Absolutely.
Communication is definitely key. Sometimes you definitely do. As a man, I have learned I have to push my pride aside a lot of times in order to move forward for the sake of us. I tell people all the time, like, hey, I think the best part of my marriage is the fact that I'm figuring life out with my best friend. But it's just like at the same time, when I'm mad with her, I don't treat her as though she's my best friend. So I had to kind of tell myself like, okay, if you telling everybody else you're your best friend, why don't you realize it?
Amen.
So, but I definitely say, first and foremost, if you are going to go into a marriage or any relationship, start off as friends 1st.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Because one thing that Whitney actually put in my head again is that, when times get rough and you don't want to be so-called in a relationship with
Mhm.
this person, you need to be able to fall back on your friendship.
Mhm.
So I would definitely say that.
And let me say one more thing. And just like one of my comments says, Janelle, I do think it is Janelle is sodomized. It's not a good thing. And I was joking, but it is not a good thing. And if you do that, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but I just don't believe in that. Like I don't believe in a lot of things. And it's okay for us to have not have the same belief
Absolutely.
and still be able to agree to disagree. And so I just wanted to clear that up. Don't be offended by anyone. If you like it in your butt, you like it in your butt. I don't like it in my butt. So
And I don't either.
so-
and That
That's
ain't
it.
nothing that I'm interested in trying.
Okay, so anyway, and I can say that although I believe in Jesus Christ, He's my Lord and Savior, but I believe these are conversations that people need to have.
Absolutely.
We're so closed up, we're so close minded, and this is why we have those problems. This is why relationship don't last. This is why I feel like in Christian relationship, where Christian marriage are the highest divorce. Is it because we pretend that we're in and we don't get what we need because we're afraid to ask for what we want, or we want to paint a picture that's not true? And so go ahead.
Or you definitely right about that, because a lot of times people used to talk to Whitney and I like they thought we were just like more saved than Jesus
like,
Christ himself.
Absolutely.
Like
we weren't married.
We regular people. Like
Mhm.
you know, from time to time we used to go to parties. From
Mhm.
time to time we'll go out. We'll do different stuff. But
Drink
it's
a
just
whole
like,
bottle.
yeah, like
Mhm.
people.
But we love
People
Jesus.
think just because we're Christians and
Mhm.
we're married that it's just like, okay, you know what? From time to time we enjoy ourselves too.
Yeah, but
So,
I don't know why people feel that way, but you know, it can be again, it's our worldview, it's how we was brought up, it's a religion that has been taught, and that's because years we didn't have a relationship with God. We had relationship according to what the pastor taught us, what the
With the
preacher
church.
said, what the church said, and it's not to now in these days that people are understanding that yes, we need a church, yes, we need a pastor, but you must have a relationship with God for yourself. You must be able to hear His voice, because what he's telling you not to do, Whitney, He's not telling me that.
Absolutely.
Okay, because I don't drink. You know, He haven't got to that point.
Don't do it, Jesus. I ain't ready yet.
Okay, and so some people can drink and some people
Mhm.
can't drink, but the Bible do say be sober minded. So when you get to the point where you can't focus, you don't know where you're surrounded,
Mhm.
then it's a problem.
Absolutely.
It also said that you know, we just gotta, you know, treat people how we want to be treated. And so he said, you come that you may have life more abundantly. And if you're not laughing, if you're not enjoying life, how are you having life more abundantly? And then when he said the Bible, the bed is undefiled, he don't want you coming speaking in tongue when you come to make love to your mate.
No.
He don't want you listening to Gloria when he wants you to, you know, yeah, he don't want you to listen to take her to the king. Oh, sorry.
We was,
Is this a so subject?
No, it just what happened one time. We had on Pandora Station. And, you know, if you know me, I love Fantasia. And you know, Fantasia sang gospel here and there.
Uh-huh.
So
she threw it in there one.
No, Marvin Sapp came on next. That's exactly what came on. Never, man, it was over once that came on. Like, you don't want to hear that.
And would you have any closing remarks for us?
I would honestly say, just like Chris said, communication, and why I would agree with communication, because that's what almost ruined us in the beginning. A lack of communication, like really, really bad. But now that we have learned to communicate with one another, I have literally found a new love for him based on our communication, because now I feel like he's more involved. He wants to know. He's more concerned about me and my well-being. Not that he hasn't before, but now that we have worked on our communication, it's more. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Like, I get more out of you now. So, and don't give up. Every problem that doesn't mean that it's the end of it. Mm-hmm. You know, some problems come to be a lesson. Some come to teach you how to better yourself or better you together. Don't give up. Don't be so quick to say, you know what, we had this big problem and that's it. Try to compromise, come up with a solution. And sometimes you have to stop thinking about just the marriage, because the marriage literally is the title and the certificate that we have with each other. What about the friendship? What about the relationship that you have with one another?
What about the person itself?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And what Chris and I decided to do, October, November, we decided that we were going to stop saying we're working on our marriage, and we're going to work on the relationship that we have with one another. And ever since we decided to work on us together, it has been wonderful. Like, literally, every day has been a good day. Not saying that every day it's all smile and laughter, but I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see his name pop up on my phone in a text or a call, because we are working on one another. We are working on building back our friendship. So, yeah.
Question. First one said, I love you.
Whitney.
First one to...
Because remember, I said I like you first.
Oh, yeah, I did. I said it in front of his friends.
First one to apologize.
Neither one. You know what? Me. Nah, nobody.
I don't think neither one of us. I think we probably apologize mutually, because both of us are very stubborn.
Yeah, so we don't do that.
Who's the funniest?
Me?
Whitney.
Who dressed it better?
Me.
I do.
I put Chris on, literally. He would never admit, after 10 years of us being together and 5 years married, if I show y'all a picture of how Chris looked in college, he was not that guy. Now, yeah.
So this is the thing, and you feel as though I came outside with a button-up shirt, rolled up sleeves, some nice jeans, and some Sperry's on.
Oh,
She
you
was
dress
just-
like you dress like Woody.
She said, "Oh my gosh, I love when a man dressed like that."
Mhm.
That's not you putting me on.
So what I used to, me and Chris used to go out, and I see a guy that looks so good, and I used to be like, Chris, that's how I want you to look. And you know what he'll try to do that next day or whatever we had to put on clothes to go to class? Chris would look identical to the person who I said I like, you know. So I put him on. I gave him that
Allegedly.
image. I gave you the image
Allegedly.
of how I wanted you to look. And now
Allegedly.
you have,
He,
No,
he done took it up.
man, my dog, be looking real good. I'm gonna give it to you. All right.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Okay, who can cook the best?
Me?
Me.
Yeah, Chris can cook French
I
toast.
can cut some mean breakfast.
And when he say mean, he mean French toast and eggs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to tell you guys, thank you. How do the people connect with you guys? Because I know Whitney, what's going on with the Dear Whitney?
Oh, that is so funny that you asked about Dear Whitney. So I do have a Dear Whitney page on Facebook, and Chris and I literally just talked about this last week. Austin?
Go ahead, tell him.
Okay. We talked about this last week. This is something that I've started.
Hold
What
on.
Tasha said?
Tasha said, I remember he used to wear plaid all
All
the
the time in them little seashells. That's when he had a net. Like when his net was real, real fine.
Can you block her?
Don't say
you
that.
to bring that up.
So thank you, Tasha. She just confirmed that I really put Chris on because you would thought Chris was on skateboards and surfing.
I grew up in a country city.
Yeah, and I put you in the So
Okay.
I'll put him on. City
So
Girls Up one.
tell us about your
So
Dear Whitney.
Dear Whitney is note-taking strategies that I started when I was diagnosed with anxiety, you know, trying to get myself through the whole anxiety process. I would start writing notes in my phone and I would just title it Dear Whitney. I felt like it was better for me to express myself. I was trying to find different cope mechanisms. So
Mhm.
I felt like it was better for me to express myself and write it out. And every time I would write a new note, I always started out with Dear Whitney. So we had this conversation. Me and Auntie had this conversation about Dear Whitney and you know, just helping other people overcome anxiety and depression and suicide thoughts, because not only was I battling anxiety, a lot of people don't know that I also battled suicide thoughts like really, really, really bad. Like the thoughts would literally like take me to the edge. So I would write out how I felt, and once I wrote it and I read it, I kind of felt like a sense of release. So the Dear Whitney was again supposed to help and inspire others that dealt with the same thing to overcome what they were going through and to also know that they wasn't alone. So I do have a Facebook page. It's called Dear Whitney. I have kind of like put it on the back burner because life was really lifing, you know? So sometimes you do want to start stuff and you do want to inspire people, but how can you inspire someone if you're not being consistent? So I kind of stopped, and Chris brought it up to me last week. Like, you really need to go back and do Dear Whitney, because not only am I still overcoming anxiety and depression, now I have elementary students who has anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, mental illness, spurs, you know. So it's not about me anymore.
Exactly.
It's not about me. I have someone else that I need to inspire. I have someone else that I need to reach out to. So that's my goal, to start back.
Okay,
Start it
I'm
back
glad
up.
to hear that. And so, well, thank you guys for being my guest. I hope I didn't. I'm proud too much. I hope I didn't offend any of y'all. But if I did, you know how to click off. You ain't got to follow. It's all good.
Absolutely.
But thank you for doing 7 Days of Love. You guys was my last guest for 7 Days of Love. I am extremely tired. I'm so glad it's off. Kudos to I'm so glad it's over. Kudos to Woody and Morgan, because they both carried the show. Morgan truly carried the show
Yes,
last
she
night. If
did.
you guys
Yes, she
did not
did.
watch the show, go back and watch that
Gotta
show.
watch it.
Make sure your bladder is empty because she's gonna make you bust a couple stitches, okay? And so I'm just thankful. And Woody and the daughter and father in love, he did a great job. He did such a great job that people want him to come on. So I'm trying to get him to come once a month. It doesn't necessarily have to be on Mondays, but y'all give him some hearts. When you see him, tell him that you enjoyed him and you want him to come more. And that's about it. Put God first. Let God be your Lord and Savior. Know that it's okay to live for Christ and have fun. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to make love to your mate. It's okay to embrace one another. It's okay to enjoy one another. That's why you have a mate. Not necessarily for one to pay the bills. Not necessarily for one to just cook, but for you to enjoy each other, to do life together. That's why it's called partnership. One more thing. Do me a favor. Stop saying marriage is hard. Marriage is not hard. Marriage
Not
is
what you make
perfect.
it.
It's all about what you make it. Not only that, if it's hard, think about, are you with the right person? This is your girl Angela, and everything you do, always be true to you. I love you and I mean it. Bye.